Acuil Malith Bongol, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, brother, colleague, and comrade Mawan Gordon Motat. This is a great opportunity, and it is a great topic to be attended to. First of all, I'm very much impressed about this initiative of RBC, the Rumbek Broadcasting Corporation TV. Having started, is a gift by the person who initiated, then borrowed the name of Rumbek to become the identity. And it is good that the RBC is picking up on a program that is very dear and very central to human development. Information and communication technology is becoming now central to enhancing people to discuss. Imagine now you are in London, I'm here, our colleagues in Australia or wherever they are creating an impact. And they are now giving us an opportunity to talk like this. So this is very great. So I'm very pleased. Talking about independent, I also thank you very much for choosing me to share my views. And welcome and thank you very much for the footprint programs of RBC.
Thank you, Acuil. Thank you very much. Acuil, you and I go back a long time. I think we must have been about 15, 16 when we first met, secondary school, Malakal Senior Secondary School. And we had so many wonderful years together. And we went to the university together, University of Alexandria. And we studied the same subject, animal production. And then later on, I came to the UK and you decided to join the movement a few years later. So that's where I would like to begin. As a young man, what inspired you to later on join the SPLM?
Wow, good to remember, and it is amazing that we are repeating this from 1975, 76, 77, and now we are doing it again. Me and you sitting face to face. These are some of the wonders of the world.
And the 80s in Egypt, the 80s.
Yeah, and then when we met we met in University of Alexandria. The way we came up, me and you, the way we were made to prepare ourselves by people like our elder Boluma Kweng, the way he guided us as Blue Boys or fresh.
Yeah, Athanasius, Mopori John.
Those people that help us.
Dr. Mike Bullen.
Moses
Akol, our friend.
Yes.
Joe Gwenyekwan.
They made us to be responsible young boys in the universities. And immediately, in less than a year, 2 years or 3, we came up with ASAFA.
That's right.
African Students
Association, University of Alexandria.
Faculty of Agriculture, University of Alexandria. Yes. And which continued to be having South Sudan Cultural Day. And then we came up with the Sioux Tigers, the basketball program.
Yes.
And despite our heavy schedules, I didn't miss any game for Sioux Tigers. We played as South Sudanese, and we played only that Africans, they were fearing us. They didn't accept basketball to be part of the African student game program where Sosa was even featuring high in football, but Sosa was participating in football games, African students.
Right.
You remember?
Yes.
But none could stand in front of us as basketballers.
That's right.
And this is until now. Believe me or not, we have already qualified to World Cup. Okay. Going back to our history, and then we participated in students' activity. You remember what was our student movement? It was called SAPO.
SAPO, yeah.
South Sudan African People's Patriotic Organization.
I've forgotten that.
when we swept the students' elections.
Yes.
And we prepared. And then you left. And then for me, I left for the liberation. I stopped playing basketball.
Yes.
Decided to go to the movement because I could not survive it. Even if I come to Sudan then, I could have been a target. And then also, if I was to go to play, I could not have got to continue playing while youths were doing what they were doing by then. So my choice, I was very happy that the SPLM was established by August 30th. By July 30th, the manifesto came out and it attracted us. Sooner when we finished,
and we graduated in June the following year.
In 1984, and then I joined 1985.
Yes.
From there, I became a recruit. So, by the way, I was discovered in Gambela by Tokwat that I am a basketball star, and I was summoned to go to Ethiopia to go and represent them. But I told them I don't have attitude to play basketball. Do I need to represent any other country? And leadership of the movement, especially our current president training, he got impressed. He went and got me shoes because I put on size 13, 48. It's not in the army. To get prepared to go for training. And I was put in Gambela. Me and Uncle late Simon Mori and John Garang, we became production committee. So we transformed SPLA training centers and in Bill Farm, in Bongo, and indeed in Buma. Then liberated, we transformed it into agriculture production for vegetables, and it went well. So then shortly, we went to the field, was trained, assigned as COI company commander. We were deployed up to Jebelado. We worked almost like 40 something days to be deployed around Juba, to pin down Juba, to prevent it doing reinforcement to the eastern zone. And we succeeded to keep Juba down. So the eastern zone was captured, and then later on the SPLA came to surround Juba. I was summoned from Juba to go and be part of the 15-member who established SRRA, the humanitarian wing.
Yes. In 2005, the leadership of the movement called me back after the peace agreement was signed in Nairobi. I was summoned back and asked to become a secretary for political cluster, which was headed by Comrade Wane Iga. By then, the movement has established 4 clusters: military cluster and the current president, Salva Kiir Mayardit, and then political and economical and public administration cluster was under Comrade Dr. Riek Machar. And from there, we established the clusters, and then our cluster finished its work. A special committee for each cluster was made of 21 persons. So then I opted out to do business. So I was doing business in Rumbek and doing a corridor politics when we were doing the constitution. So me, late John Luke, and Michael McQuay, we were come together team. We sit in the evening and we exchange views. So things went well. From there, I moved to Juba doing my business. Then 2008, I was summoned back by Comrade Anito and Comrade Pagan Amum, asking me to take over the responsibility of the Secretariat for Popular and Syndicated Organizations. From there, we did the registration. We went for the campaign, 2010 elections, and then 2011 referendum voting. And in referendum voting, in the elections, I was supervising Unity State and Warab State. Nobody wanted to go to Unity State because there were some challenges there. But I took it upon myself because I trusted in my colleague Taban Dengai, so I went there. In 2011, I became in charge of Warab State, and I have learned very good experience during the elections and during referendum voting. The 7 days of the referendum actually got finished in the first 4 days. That was my observation. My observation also on the third and the fourth day, until the end of the day, you could not hardly see any woman still left behind doing voting. There were no women have finished on the first and the second day.
Amazing.
On the first day, when I moved on the morning of the voting, when I moved from Kojok, I wanted to move to far north to go to Abia in the morning. So I left by 1. I left Kojok. So I was driving to go and start from there, supervising, coming back, see this thing. You know, by 4:30, I arrived to Kojok. I arrived I arrived to Paliet. Miles away, I could hear voices of children crying, women talking. And to go there, it were only women who swam the center. They are in line, they are sitting down, discussing, singing, children crying, but also singing songs. Oh, it was amazing. I could not hold my tears for joy. So by the third day, I didn't have anything to supervise, so I came back to vote in Malakal, in Juba, at High Malakal Primary School.
Yes, where you live,
yes, and it proved to me the same all over. When I went to the center, there were no any woman except the women who are supervising. There were no any woman anymore voting, casting votes. They are finished. So by day 5, day 6, day 7, hardly you see anybody going voting. So it was impressive, and it's something amazing. It shows how South Sudanese people could unite unanimously to do one thing if something is appealing to their views about being about their Junubinness.
Yes.
So yes. It was amazing. In the war also, I had very good experience of me. When you were hearing about the success which was being done by Comrade Obote Mamur and Comrade Bir Ajang between Rumbek, between Juba and Torit. Mawan, you cannot believe that SPLA was laying ambush, and in ambush they were being served with cooked food by villagers. Cooked food. People in ambush, so they are in hiding. Nobody should know them, but the villagers knew them, and the enemy could not even hear about whereabouts.
And this is between
Torit and Juba. So the ambush were being laid down by SPLA soldiers, and SPLA soldiers will be fed by the community on the ambush line. It's not anywhere in the world. Okay.
Yes, it's amazing.
When I came to Jabalado, also I have experience. You know, we were not having food with us, so the Mundari was feeding us. If you want to go for a mission, then you wait until midday. From 9, you move until 3. You will be fed by any community you come across. They will call you and then cook you a lot with some porridge with the local food, full, the size you want. Every time anything, they will look at you and then they will put the size you want in the cooking pot. They will bring it to you.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And we're moving without advance party or protection or any safety measures other than the community themselves. Also amazing, you can see that by that time the institutions of the old Sudan, the public administration was the target of the SPLA, was destroyed. You know what was happening? It was military commanders put into something called Independent Area Command, and each military commander was in his or her zone. Of course, it were all of them men. Agergum was not yet given a zone by then. So each military commander was in charge of traditional authority leaders in their executive chiefs. So there were no in administration in the middle. It was executive chiefs responsible for their people, organize their people, do judiciary, do administration, prepare food, bring food to the SPLA zones. And the most organized zone by then was Central South Sudan under Commander Kwan Manyang Juk.
When you say Central South Sudan, you're talking about Rumbek, you're talking about Lake State?
Rumbek, Lake State, and then Bor, up to Tarkeka. It was called Central Southern Sudan Zone and Command. It was made of independent area commands, and that each of them was under a commander, either a captain or alternate commander. So so those things actually, things were marvelous. Was happening. So the liberation became too smooth to the liberation movement that it sent us to sleep. That will come to it later.
Yeah.
So those are the,
you paid for that sleep. You paid for that sleep.
We are waking up.
Talk about
Don't
it.
worry.
We'll talk about it.
We are waking up.
Okay.
Yeah. We know the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
We know the
Hear
problem.
that. It's good to hear that. Still sticking to your period during the SPLM, the struggle period. Tell us what things went wrong and what things went well. What did the SPLA do properly and what did the SPLA do really badly that maybe we are still paying for now?
Yeah. One mistake we did, actually, when the chiefs were reporting to Independent Area Command, so the chief also got excited and they wanted to be recognized in the army system. So they wanted to be soldiers. But that was a disaster, because the moment they became soldiers and they were being made first lieutenant and second lieutenant, they become now under the commander. So any captain will come to them and will not treat them like chiefs.
Discipline them. I see. So
they lost their status by being soldiers.
And that was not something planned. That came by accident.
No, it was not planned. It was a demand from them that they wanted to also to be, because they saw it, because they were influenced by the military, by the military behavior. Military behavior was very smooth. And
they were attracted. It looked attractive.
It was very attractive.
It looked exciting.
Yes,
it looked exciting to them. Can I go back to one point?
Yes,
we always lament that before independence, before the colonial period, before the slave campaign into South Sudan in 1820s, you could say that the South Sudanese communities were a lot more stable than they are now. They could produce their own food. They live in relative peace and harmony.
No.
But more importantly, can I just finish? Because that's the point I'm trying to raise. More importantly, we did not have the modern ills of crime, urban crime, theft, murder, and also prostitution. We did not have those ills. So many people lament that loss and sometimes think that, how could we restore it? One of the things that a lot of people point out is the undermining of local authorities, the undermining of local chiefs and traditional leadership. So the British did their bit to undermine that. The Arabs did their bit to undermine that. Would you also say then that the SPLM also did its bit to undermine our traditional leadership?
Of course, yes, we did, but we also made it grow out of proportion.
Okay.
So, and we gave them a military status. That was the mistake. And then one other thing is that we did not control our DDR. So we did not control our DDR. So
could you explain what DDR is?
DDR is demobilization and rehabilitation, disarmament and rehabilitation of the combatant. So we did not, and so those people who are not being engaged now at the military barracks, they melted into the communities and they took this same military necessary attitude and behavior and the way of doing things. They took it to the communities, and they are the one doing chaos. It is not the communities who get spoiled. So it is our soldiers whom we are not controlling, and the world should help us. DDR, we cannot do miracles. There's a way to do DDR. You have to attract the former combatant, attract them, buy guns out from them, give them alternative means of living, or otherwise we are not realistic. That is the challenge.
We'll come back to that later. It's
yeah,
we're always blaming foreigners.
So that is part of our problem. So we did not intend to do it. We did not intend to do it. But
it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of certain policies.
It's product of realities. It's not even policies, because nobody designed it to happen like that. It is. We find ourselves that we are overwhelmed by the success, and the success without institutions, without the legal framework. You talk about restoring the traditional laws. You don't restore them, but you adapt them to the modernity, because there's no way the modernity can stop because of laws.
No, so those laws have to.
Yeah, those laws have to be adapted, and they are very strong.
No, I know, but you have to give them power. When we talk about undermining the laws, we're not talking about undermining the laws. We are talking about undermining the leaders. So the leaders should also be part of this adaptation. They should not be, undermined by this so-called educated urban elite.
Yeah. So because the post-colonial and the post-liberation modern states.
Would you say it's a continuation? Would you say it's a continuation of colonialism? We are actually
by us. We became the new Arabs and the new Khawaja
in the name of education.
In the name of miseducation.
Miseducation, because you speak Arabic or English and you write them, so you think you are better than your cousin.
No, even me. What are we educated? Educated English, or I'm educated agriculture? What will I do? Me and you. When I graduated from agriculture and I came, I have never touched administrative work. I am not trained as an administrator. So that by itself is not the correct. It's not a correct education to be a statement, because we don't have colleges, we don't have centers to train cadres.
Would you say the only South Sudanese really who actually do the jobs they are trained for are doctors and maybe lawyers?
Even lawyers, no. It is only the doctors.
The doctors who are actually doing their job.
Yeah.
The rest of us,
rest of us
bring with this masters and PhDs, you come and push papers.
Jalpaj targets.
Jalpaj. Yeah, well done. Yet we are undermining the local wise leadership.
Not only undermining that one, we are actually destroying the future, because these entities, we are growing, not being part of our communities, and our communities are growing horns. They are becoming more stronger, because if it is a matter of gun,
they are outgunning us.
They will outgun you and outnumber you, and we are getting old, and we are getting spoiled. Like me now, when I was in the liberation movement, when I was in front line, I was walking barefooted because I don't have a size of my shoes. I will not do it now because I'm spoiled already.
You are a bourgeois.
Back to my shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't even.
Independence Day. How did you feel? What did independence mean to you?
A lot.
After all that struggle.
It means, yes, of course, things are happening. Because first of all, by myself talking to you about the ills of our success, not ills of our failures. By admitting that we have ills, we have things to be doing, is motivation. It's motivating me, inspiring me. So I know what to do. If I am not doing it, I have to blame myself. Because nobody is telling me this. I have to look for a solution. So there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of things we have to do, and we can just summarize it in 4.
Okay.
Four entities have to work. First of all, the civil society. Sorry, civil society organizations. That is number 1. From family, from friends, from me like you, from this beautiful, powerful thing like this Rumbega Broadcasting Corporation, and your program in it. This is very big. This is so amazing. So this is a pillar. That is one. The other one is number 2 is the marketplace. We have to be we have to be producing. We have to be creating wealth. We cannot be running. There's a very good video on YouTube about John Garang telling you state. What is the state? Who is this state? Akuma. What is Akuma? Akuma Mondidiner. People want to loot from it.
What kind of old money is he?
Yeah.
So, we think the state has milk and has money and has gold.
No, for me, I myself, I have opted many times, 3 times, out from official assignment, 3 or 4 times. The last one was after 2016 when I opted out and I told them that I don't want to continue to be a secretary. So I was given advisorship and I went to the market. I have my company. I use my professional service to get money more than the minister, 3 or 10 times than the minister. So why wasting my time doing it? Then I am engaged with the SPLA and SPLM, giving them the knowledge if they want. So it is better. So the market, number 2 is the market. Number 3 is political community. We don't have political parties, Mawan. We don't have. What we have, these are political groups. These are groupings for the sake of climbing to acquire jobs. And SPLM was sent to sleep during the liberation because we did not even prepare to take over the country. That where John Garang was talking in a class. And you know, that class was made of who? Was made of secondary school leavers, junior officers, and senior officers were not going anywhere. We tried it in Zing. Some were sent to Addis Ababa, and some were sent to Cuba. And then later on, even people sent to South Africa or but those people are not considered as cadres because employment here is now entitlement. Okay, because there is no any other source to do DDR or to retire people, so you have to expose them to get access to. Now, that one is number 3, but number 4 is the West. We see the nation state, with the judiciary, with the executive, legislature, judiciary, and media. Oh, thank you. Your media is of course cross-cutting to the other 3, but media here with the nation state, we have to be aware that when the nation state is cooking something, it will be cooking whether it is ideas or efforts or being regulated or laws. It has to come from the 3 main actors, which is civil society, the market, and then the political community. Put it to a state to be cooked and then given to us. Or you get an opportunity rather than being given out. Now I have an opportunity. I'm sitting in Lugale House here, doing what I am doing because the state is stable. Suppose people are fighting in J1, it becomes a problem to me. People are okay. So out of these 4, there is no country that could come up who has come up without these 4. So we know them. So let us do something.
You say
so
you've been sleeping as the SPLM, and the SPLM can wake up, but people are talking about state hijack, and people are saying that this is not the path that we were walking when we came into Juba in 2005. The soldiers thin and determined and honorable, and now they are nowhere to be seen. We see fat people who have a sense of entitlement and who take other people's money. The state. So there's this talk about the state being stolen. Hence the crisis. Hence the crisis of the fallout in 2013 and the war we've had until recently. Can you talk about that?
Yes.
How did this disaster happen? Is it final, or can we survive from it? Can we rise out of it?
Okay.
And also, these parties that you are talking about is a representative of this state theft, isn't it? If the parties are a grouping of people who are there to extort money from the state, and they are not political parties, then we are fixed.
Okay.
Do you think there's hope that these groupings can change and can develop to become political parties, or are we doomed?
Yeah. So first of all, the state is not hijacked.
Okay.
Because the opposite would have been the state being monopolized by the SPLM. That was not going to be, because we did not liberate to rule. And actually, the state is not stolen, but this is a challenge of the new situation, whereby we have new complexities of having people who were not with us, who have a right to join and be accommodated and contribute.
No, but by me, no, but
Well,
by
let me finish.
by
Let me
stolen, we
finish.
are not just talking
Let me
about the opposition groups joining. That's not what we mean.
I'm coming in. Let me come in. Let me explain my viewpoint. Okay. SPLM by itself needs new cadres. Even those who are against SPLM are convinced now the SPLM is the right thing to join. So they have to join. Now it is us SPLM to get a mechanism to prepare to orient them and give them induction. We are not doing it. So they have a right to come, and we are obliged to accept them. So they have not hijacked. But if there is any success we have done is accepting to absorb them, starting from Paulina Matip. If we did not absorb Paulina Matip, if we did not absorb the ex opposition to the liberation, if we cannot absorb the ex members of NCP who are trained cadres, they will be against us, and outside there will be a problem. That our mistake, our shortcoming is one. We have not given them induction. Number two, our leadership, Chairman Kiir, he's only behaving like a president. He did not come out as a chairman of the party. So out of the many days he gives to the executive and the army, we don't have a day for SPLM. So let us celebrate now. We start having a day for SPLM to give induction to these people. Now people like Tutkeo, amazing what he did. I hope people will not look at me like somebody begging money from Tutkeo. But actually, Tutkeo did a lot with the peace in Sudan and peace in South Sudan. When Tutkeo actually did a lot good to Khartoum and to South Sudan, especially after the uprising. Had it not been Tutkeo being in Khartoum by that week to be called by international community, that actually the uprising and the takeover is being recognized by South Sudan and things were going to be better, things wouldn't have been like this. But those were initiated by Tutkeo. So it is us to put our house in order. But also Tutkeo has to come to us to SPLM. If he has come to J1, that is another thing. But he is not part of the SPLM. So there is a gap. So we have new challenges that we are not able to manage them. It is not the takeover. It is not the hijack. No. Did I answer you?
Yes, you did. But we'll come back to this. But when people talk about hijack, people are not just talking about these outsiders alone, right? People are not just talking about these outsiders alone. People are talking about J1 itself. People say that J1 has moved away from the SPLM.
But
what do you say about that?
J1 has moved away. It is not by the newcomers.
No.
Let me give you.
Not by
before.
The
let me give you.
But
let me give you where it started. Let me give you where it started.
Right.
It started immediately when we went to Rumbek, and then our chairman, Dr. John, went to Khartoum, and he sent the 10 political supervisors to the states. You remember those one?
Yes, Pagana Mum, Riek Machar.
Okay, that was the big. That was
Pagana Mum was
that was the big. You know, that was the beginning of the.
Really?
That was the beginning of the disaster. You know what happened? They left with their bodyguards, their headquarters, and they left the civil authority of New Sudan. They left the SPLM. So they went and they were absorbed by the system which was sitting there. Even John Garang was absorbed in
Khartoum.
In Khartoum. Salva Kiir also was absorbed in Khartoum. Salva Kiir now is absorbed in J1. He's not the chairman of the party. He's not coming out to us. So let me say it. Okay, so the disaster is with us. We have to solve it. And okay, I have gone out. I'm now absorbed in the market. So where is the SPLM? So we have to go back to our roots and start influencing the SPLM. SPLM is still alive, and SPLM is still popular, and our views are still relevant. So they're starting from that day when John Garang left to Khartoum and sent the 10 observers, supervisors too. They went, imagine, our civil authority of New Sudan was being led by the administrators, Uncle Achuldit, and their colleagues. They came and they established the civil authority of civil authority of New Sudan. Okay, and the civil authority of New Sudan were trained in Uganda. So when our people went back, when they were sent back, they did not go with any one of them. They did not go with any member of the SPLM. They did not go back. They went with their bodyguards.
You're telling me that the SPLA was finished from day one?
No, it's not finished. It made a mistake. We did not finish. I'm talking to you now. I'm asking.
No, disintegrated then. Disintegrated.
No, it didn't. It didn't. We succeeded in 2010. We won election over 90%. Our agenda won 98.8%. It was us, the agenda which was relevant. It was the manifesto which was relevant.
But then you fell out in 2013 in a big way, and you split
into three let us come to
groups. And you split into three main groups. You split into the Riek Machar group. Let me finish. So you finish into what became SPLM-IO, what became SPLM in government, and then what became former detainees. And this was just one entity.
Yes.
So what happened then, and what's the hope now?
It was leaders who were fighting over something to eat. They don't have ideological difference. And because our communities are isolated from us, and that's where I will come back to that, they went to mobilize their communities. It is not Denka Nuer. It was the leaders who were sitting, first of all, in Nyakuren. They could not come together. Then they made Bayan, the SPLM house. And then also, it was people who were dismissed from the government by President Salva Kiir. They dismissed and did not engage them. So they went and regrouped, and they know only one good thing, being against the government, and they know it. They know how to do it. So, and there were no ideology. So when you say SPLM is split, SPLM did not split. It were leaders who jumped out from the system. The SPLM did not split. So those leaders now are not even IO, are not political party, any other political. They are not. They are groups who they are factions of the SPLM who have come together to have a replies peace agreement, and that is also very harsh. I think it's very, very, very raw. It could collapse anytime because it is depending on individuals. It's not ideological. It is not religion. It's not cultural. It's not Nuer, Denka, Shilung, Morle, Equatoria, Bargazal. It's not. So SPLM did not split.
Okay.
Leadership crisis.
Now they have come together after the Khartoum Agreement in 2018. And things seem to be working well now. We are looking forward to things like the revised constitution and registration of new parties, and then elections at the end of this process. We also still have people who are left out, people like Thomas Cirillo. What can you say about these things?
Okay, first of all, let me talk about the coming together. It's good that with South Sudan National Dialogue is a good initiative from the leadership of the party and leadership of the country. President Salva Kiir, South Sudan National Dialogue is the path, because there is no any other thing we can do. And the National Dialogue also was even they did not give communities, traditional authority leaders, initiative like what Fredi Taban was doing in the Peace Village, bringing chiefs together. So we made it among ourselves. Whatever the case, it went well. Intellectuals have to discuss. But the chiefs were not given their own forum. You bring them, the people start talking English and Arabic. Okay, you are not giving chiefs to discuss among themselves.
We ignore our national languages.
So we have, so that we have come together. But coming together, do what? Power sharing. That is access to resources sharing. It is not power. What power? What power are they using? It is only access to, and this access to resources is not bringing in everybody. So those who are left out will continue to quarrel. So a lot has to be done. First of all, to manage as Comrade Majanga got put it with the gun class. So Comrade Mawan, what happened is not the disintegration of SPLM. There is a leadership crisis. then we are overwhelmed by the success and there are new situation. And this situation need us to go back to a drawing board as SPLM. Our leadership has to get out from the members of the caucus in the J1, members of the caucus in the executive, members of the caucus in the legislature, members of the caucus in the states have to come back, and we go back to SPLM and use the SPLM mechanism and methodology to bring everybody back. And then we create an opportunity for nobody should be hungry. Because what do you expect somebody spend many years fighting, and then you come and throw them down without pension? So first of all, the world is actually contributing to our failure. They give us DDR, is not nobody supporting it. They give us sanction. They give us embargo, arm embargo. How do you graduate? How do you graduate those who have been sent to centers to be retrained? How do you graduate them? And they have left their guns because they don't trust. When they give up their guns, either they are DDR or when the factions wanted to send them, the factions are even preparing for the next war. They will not send their recruits to the centers by giving up their guns. And I have seen this in El Salvador. In El Salvador, when the liberation movement came in, they split it. There were some people who were preparing for the total emancipation of the okay. So they were stockpiling guns. So it is a psychological thing. There is no single recruit that went to the center with a gun, and you cannot graduate them with those guns, and you cannot collect those guns from their mother units. You have to make those guns obsolete. How do you make them obsolete? Or you make them a commodity by doing it through the DDR to collect them. Otherwise, it's not possible. It's not. You cannot access to those guns without attracting those guns to the stores. You cannot graduate these people without guns. Then it will be like a joke. So we are trapped here, Mawan.
No, but you've said that there's a leadership failure. So if there's a leadership failure and the leaders are not united enough to solve this problem.
I didn't say leadership failure.
Can I finish? Leadership crisis. Yes.
The leadership crisis, yes.
So the leaders are not together. They're not working together to solve this problem. So the international community, it's hard to blame the international community because they feel if they gave this money might not help, but actually fuel the situation. That is the reason. It's not to undermine. It's not to undermine us, but it's to say, okay, if we give the guns, how could we be sure that next year these guns will not be used to kill South Sudanese by other South Sudanese?
Yes, I can be sure. If we engage the communities, if we bring communities, Article 166, 167, 168 mandate the SPLM-led government to incorporate traditional authority leaders at the level of national, they call Kotal, at the state, at the communities. If we involve them, the communities themselves will not allow you to go and recruit their children. That is the solution.
So that has to happen. That has to happen first. Then you know that we have.
It cannot happen first.
We are putting our house in order. When we put our house in order, then other people can come.
Which is true, yes. That is true. Yeah, we have to put our house in order.
We need to start first.
But it takes time. It takes time, Mawan. It takes time.
And I hope
it is taking time. It is costing. It is. You read my book about this traditional authority leaders?
Yes, I did. Yeah, the book, of course.
Well, I'm doing something a little bit of some small work that I talked to you yesterday about it, because that is the only solution. If we don't bring our communities to Juba to be talking in J1, we don't bring them to Parliament. We don't bring them to talk to the army. Our communities, and then you stop the regulars, the people who are mutinying here to go and recruit children from the village. Thank God they don't even have ideological support, because there is no intellectual who is enjoying them. They go and mislead the chiefs, mislead the youth that it is a tribal war. What is tribal war? Yes, it's nothing. I have nothing to do to fight against anybody, not my neighbors, not the immediate neighbors in Baragazal, not anybody in Unity State or anybody in Equatoria. But we are trapped. Our communities are being confused. So bring the communities themselves through the South Sudan National Dialogue. Then go ahead now and do the constitution. And that's why the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement is exceedingly difficult. it is not that it is not implementable. But the leaders have to get out from their comfort and go back to their parties and go back to their communities. Leaders are not visiting their communities.
Yes, but do the leaders have incentives? Because you were saying earlier they fell out. The reason they fell out because they fell out over resources for themselves. So are they really bothered about the country to come together?
Yeah, you have. I think you have to ask them. But if I am them,
yeah,
if I am them, I will do what I'm saying. But I don't know whether they are in a comfort zone.
They are exactly.
So, but I am not surrendering. I'm doing what I am doing. Shortly, when I finish from you, I'm just engaged with youth. I go to secretariat. I go to women. I go to people in the market. We have our very visionary program called South Sudan National Economic Strategy Program for 2021-2023. But there is nowhere to get our leaders to endorse it.
Yes.
So I'm talking to you now. Take this media to them. Let them listen to me. Let them call me. I will tell them that you are not doing enough. Thank you for RBC.
Yes.
That's why I didn't say it out of nothing. I'm telling you. So let somebody call someone me. If I am wrong, let me be investigated. If I'm right, come and listen to me. If you have a better thing, come to RBC.
Yes. And what you are saying now is that they should come down from the mountains and to the level of the people, bring the communities together, and this crisis that's happening in the rural areas, and continue with the peace process implemented faithfully.
Yeah, it's being caused by the disgruntled soldiers who are not paid for years. If I am paid $1,000 when the bag of a sorghum is 25,000.
Yeah, what is the hope? Yes.
And then other thing, Mawan, you the intellectuals, are you doing enough? Thank God that the Rumbek young boys and communities have thought of RBC. What else are people doing to influence the situation?
You know, personally, for years I cannot blow my own trumpet, but all I'm saying is that over the last 4 or 5 years, all I've been doing is think about these things, write about these things, talk to people about these things.
Good, it is happening now. So let us celebrate the independence now with more vigorous like this. I want the RBC to go to Rumbek itself, and it must be talking Dinka in Rumbek. And you go to Kakwa, talk Kakwa. Go to Taposa, talk Taposa. Give them a chance. Telephones in the hand of people.
Well, you're actually talking about the vision of the of RBC. That's what we want to do. We believe that, you know, English is not a bad thing. It's an international language. It gives us access to science. It gives us access to international community, but it should not divide us between the so-called educated who speak English
and then
our people who spoke their languages for thousands of years. I don't want Acuil in the future for the urban Dinka to become some kind of new community that speaks some kind of broken English. They cannot speak Dinka, think they are educated, and they are disconnected from their people in Turale and Rumbek. Yes. What kind of community is going to be? What we want to do, we want to keep our languages so that they continue to be the web, the connection, the thread between our urban classes and rural classes. And in that way, we can bring our people together. Through those languages, we will continue to preserve the thousands of years of knowledge that our people have in terms of their climate, environment, their relationships, their wisdom. We retain that through that language because they talk to us. But through modern knowledge that we access, me and you, we talk to them. We also enlighten them about modernity. So that should be the way forward, actually.
Mawan, this is a good thing. And your initiative of RBC is so marvelous. Imagine people like Comrade Waniga, who come from Juba. Imagine the constitution, the South Sudan constitution give chance that primary school children should be in the language of that of every community should be taught to children
In that
from
region.
primary 1 to primary. Okay. Suppose
Primary 6.
the Bari language was being taught in primary school here. My children could have been speaking now Bari.
Which
10
would be
to
a
20
beautiful
years
thing.
later, 10, 20 years later, the Juba Arabic and Bari is the national language. What is missing? Then you go to Warab, we teach Denka. Any person who come there, their children start learning. You have people like Joseph Lago who was speaking Dinka because he was in a court.
Yes, he had his specification.
So what is wrong of my children here? Not something is wrong. Why my children here are not speaking Bari?
Exactly.
We are let down
And
by the people of Bari.
And we are not being colonized anymore. There is no colonial power stopping us from being.
Yeah.
It's just us.
It is because we did not come down. We did not sit down to the drawing boards to do what is necessary. So let us celebrate. I hope next year I see the Bari language being introduced to primary school, so that even my grandchildren start speaking Bari.
Thank you very much. I'd love to have heard that. I mean, it's really wonderful to hear that, Acuil.
Yeah. And
well,
then you recruit people. You have to recruit people speaking Bari, so that you orient them in alum induction, so that you don't say also the Bari have hijacked your RBC. You have to induct them, and they become to believe in your theory. Don't become like SPLM again.
RBC is for South Sudan. RBC is
Yes,
for South Sudan. We want to have representatives. We want to have representatives from all our states, and that's what we're aspiring to. But our resources are limited. For example, in order to just have one interview, we have a few journalists in Juba. So our journalists will be running to this minister or to this director with an iPad. They have to pay data, at least $70. $70 a session to have an interview with somebody. We cannot afford those.
And why those who are financing revitalized peace agreement? Why are they not financing you? Is it they are financing you also because you have leadership crisis there?
There's no way we can be financed, my friend.
There's no way?
No, I don't think.
No. Finance the program.
Maybe. Well, hopefully.
It can be indirectly by supporting the Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is too expensive here now.
Exactly. It will be very easy if someone can do that for us, unmiss there or
create
peace partners.
Pay you the Wi-Fi.
Just a small thing. But, at the moment, what happens is South Sudanese are struggling here. So we pay $5 here, $10 there every month. We collect them, and we are able to pay for Wi-Fi and pay small things for these young boys who help us.
Are you appealing to me?
If you can help. As a businessman.
Thank you, for giving me this opportunity, my brother.
Okay, I want you to say the last word. Can you guys come together in the spirit of Arusha? Or is it too late?
No, it's never too late. But Arusha is overtaken by a lot of other things. But the fact that they are new, we have to accommodate everybody back, even beyond Arusha. Because there are people who are later on mutinied after Arusha. So whoever has left us, let us sit with our differences. Let us sit, because Pagan will not be Acuil will never be Salva Kiir will not be Wani. So let us sit as South Sudanese who have done something. Let us sit with our differences and chart our way forward beyond Arusha. Because if you go back to Arusha, then you have left out those of Malong and you have left out those of Thomas Cirillo. Yeah. So Arusha and then Italy and then where all this and now with your RBC, let RBC bring us together and talk.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks so much, Acuil. Thanks for giving us this great chance. And you continue to do brilliant work as always. Good luck for all your endeavors in business as well as in our political activism within the SPLM that you have always been very loyal to.
Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank the RBC founding team and the management now, and this program footprint. Media is a solution. We could reach out, and you have to recruit across the 72 nationalities of South Sudan, so that RBC could reach everywhere. RBC could raise money using concepts and using pay something online or something like this, raise money, and individual entities in communities could actually start up something little, so that the resources are given to them or access to internet is given, is sponsored. So I congratulate you and say happy the 10th anniversary of our independence. Let us start with a new footprint. South Sudan.
South Sudan, oh yeah. Thank you so much, Comrade Acuil.